Welcome to another edition of Pittsburgh Sports Line. Thanks for watching us locally in Bethel Park, Comcast 7, Verizon 32 everywhere in the Pittsburgh area, including from Nemacolin all the way to Cranberry and Wexford. And on Facebook, we're back up to where we were. We're at 4,453 likes, so thanks everybody for liking us. And if you noticed, I've liked your pages when you've liked us, so there's a pattern there. Keep doing that. We got a lot of great sports. I do have to tell you that Smokin' Jim is not in traffic. He's not in a hospital. He's in a meeting, and he's running late, so he's not going to make our show. So for all the Smokin' Jim fans, he will not be here this evening. But I'm Al Levine, the Talking Machine. Chip the Prophet Hayner and Zach Brenner are here, and we have no problem talking for the next hour. None whatsoever. I want to first thank our pizza sponsor, John the Tiger Kiger, the legendary cameraman, is now going to pull in on this and get a close-up. 412-831-1900. That pepperoni slice of pizza that I had was delicious. Thanks, Ryan. Alexa, thanks for cutting that up very nicely. And we enjoy the pizza, and give them a call, 412-831-1900. You can get your pizza. Chief, maybe you could call up, order a little pizza there. Then our sponsor of What's on Your Mind, Skeets, was on our show yesterday. We're working on getting new signage, but I sort of like this one. Give them a call if you got any car issues or trouble, 724-348-4715. And he sponsors our on-location shows. Now the gas grill from EV Hardware, $1 raffle tickets. We need to sell some more of these. It's a $650 stainless steel grill. You can't beat that. It's starting to get summer-like the other day. Had the Pirate opener. We'll talk about that. Get some tickets. If you see me out in public, just ask. Then we got the designer bag bingo. Nice. Let Devin scoot in behind you, Tiger. This is live TV, folks. The control room is now entering. Devin Shea is one of the best. He's got no-show Matt Harkins there. Hopefully he doesn't turn anything off. Thanks, Devin. Now we know what time it is. And Tiger, you got the close-up? We got Vera Bradley. We got designer purses here at Dooney and Burke. $25 per person. If you don't know, you can pick up these tickets at EV True Value Hardware, Bethel Park Public Library, and come down to see Dave Cable. Let's pick up these sales. It's 10 bingo games. There's one door prize ticket. Additional bingo cards are available. It's going to be a great night. It's at the Bethel Park Community Center, and that'll be on May 8th. So check that out. One more photo. I know we're all about Pittsburgh sports, but one of our guests gave me this photo. And the first caller that calls in, no, you can't win it. I'm just kidding. But you could call 412-831-3304. No, we're working on the autograph. She didn't have it. She was married to him, and she goes, you could call him up. So
Let's call him. Where's the number?
She didn't have it. So, but it is a nice original photo.
Jim's one of his favorites.
Yeah.
That was probably
Excuse
in
me.
his time the best running back in the NFL.
For 9 years to be a pro, quitting your prime was just awesome. But we had a discussion. She was with him back then.
He was in some funny roles in movies.
Yeah, he was. Definitely. Smokin' Jim was so happy he had that kiss with Raquel Welch. We'll talk about that another time. Hey, that's our opening little promo segment. We always start with what's on your mind. And Zach Brenner's usually the first guy, so that'll stay the same. What's on your mind, Zach Brenner?
Well, Al Levine, the Talking Machine. The Buckeyes are playing tonight, but that's not what's on my mind first.
Of course.
I want to start out by giving a warm birthday ovation to Greg, the lumberjack Rudolph. It's his birthday. I think he turned 30 years old today. I was arguing with him about it. He said 30. I said 33. So you're not as young as me, old man.
Well, when I wished him happy birthday this morning, he was 33. Whoa. Little music with that?
Little music from Chip the Prophet. But
It's a
I
Bucko
never
report.
thought I would envision a day where I would say that a secondary of the Pittsburgh Steelers would actually get better by the retirement of Ike Taylor and Troy Polamalu. But I just said it, and I meant it. And that's the truth, folks. The Steelers secondary got better with the retirement of Ike Taylor, so now the organization is going to be forced to hopefully use a higher than usual draft pick and bring in somebody slightly better than old Stone Hands. And lastly, I hate to disappoint folks, but the Penguins playoff series starts on Thursday against the New York Rangers, and here back home, there will not be a big screen due to construction across the street from Console Energy, but hopefully they're going to bring it back in the second round of the playoffs. So stay tuned to that, folks. The mayor is getting involved. So
No, they've already made an announcement on the news this evening. There will be one over at the Blue Line Grill.
well, there you go, folks. You heard right there
Wow.
from Chip on the way in.
That's the old 2-9er still carries some weight at the Blue Line Grill. You know he's part owner there.
Breaking news.
Breaking news, folks. And that's what's on my mind.
Thank you, Zach Renner. Chip, the Prophet Hanger, what's on your mind?
Well, I want to, first thing that's on my mind, and I'd like to, wish a happy retirement to Troy Polamalu and Ike Taylor, and Greg Kiesel, three stalwarts of the teams that made it to 3 Super Bowls in the last 10 years. They went to 3, they won 2, tip my hat to them. It's time now that they, moved on with their life's work, as the Emperor himself used to say.
All the time.
But, since I mentioned something about the Steelers here, I figured I'd just go ahead and burst a little bubble here for my friend Jim Frazier. And we all know that Jim Frazier is a draft talent scout extraordinaire, and he works with the Steelers, and he makes suggestions every year, which, according to Jim, the Steelers never pay any attention to. But we got the draft coming up in a couple of weeks, and I figure why not let the cat out of the bag now? I wanted to give Jim's grade on Pittsburgh Steelers 2015 draft class. Of course, his grade for the draft class this year will be a D-, regardless of who they draft. But I just thought I'd let that one out of the bag, and Jim, we miss you, buddy. But to speak to what's on my mind.
Do we really?
What's on my mind tonight is the first major golf tournament of the year was completed on Sunday. The Masters in Augusta, Georgia was played, and we have a brand new Masters champion. The young man wearing the green jacket this year is named Jordan Spieth. He's the second youngest athlete to win the Masters. Of course, Tiger Woods would have been the youngest by about 4 or 5 months. But this young man is going to become the face of golf. He, from what everybody tells me and what I've seen, he's the real deal. He's got all the shots. So far, he's just slightly over 21 years old. Yeah. He's already won $14 million in purse prizes. And this is even before he's getting the mega endorsement contracts that he's probably inking right now as we speak. So, right now, the top 2 players in golf, Rory McIlroy ranked number 1, Jordan Spieth ranked number 2, and I think he's looking at the face of golf for the next 10 years. These two will be dueling each other in the majors. And once again, Tiger Woods put up a pretty pathetic performance. He came back from the dead, and until he decided to hurt his little finger on the in the final round, which will now keep him out of any tournaments. I bet you we won't see him again until the U.S. Open, and once again, he'll make one little flash in the pan, and his body's breaking down on him. And, Alan and I have our own ideas about why that's happening. Some of you may guess. I can't say one way or another because I have no evidence or proof, and I don't want any lawsuits directed towards me. But we all have our suspicions. But his body's breaking down on him. He can't even handle the day-to-day wear and tear of the tour. He comes out, he plays a tournament, he gets hurt, then he goes on a hiatus for another 3 months until he says that he's got his game back. But that all being said, the PGA doesn't need Tiger Woods. At one time it did, but his time has passed. But that's what's on my mind.
Thanks, Chip.
And as you could allude to, Al Levine, you know how hard roots are. Could you imagine all the work you put through to dig out roots? Imagine hitting a root with a golf club, Al Levine. That's going to hurt.
I can't imagine that.
Alleged root.
I watched the replay repeatedly. It hurt. It looked painful.
I missed it. Somehow golf's not at the top of my list anymore. So, especially when your shirt size is now down 2 sizes. But that's another story. By the way, what's on my mind is
Easter's over.
the Pittsburgh Passion had a huge win in their first game against Toledo, 66-0. So check them out at George Couple Stadium for their home opener. That was a late breaking news. Somehow Devin Shea and Matt Harkins are parading outside our window here with
Hey, you
Let's
know
Go
what?
Passion.
They
So
haven't lost in a couple of years. You know, they were undefeated champions last year. 1-0 already.
I
to
was
start
on the
season.
record last year before the season started. They would win. I didn't know they'd go undefeated, but I said they'd win a championship. When I met them before and talked to them, I said they'll be on a repeat. They're just playing awesome football. But what's on my mind is the three sports in Pittsburgh that are at the top of our mind. First of all, the Penguins got in. They actually played a good game, good defensive game and everything, and held on to win. So that's one thing. And Zach, the phone's not working. It's a new phone. So if you have 18 people calling in tonight, they may not get through to us. And the other thing that really got me excited is the rebuilding of the Steelers is now really going to go into full force. They've been rebuilding for 3 years. Not too many people in the Steeler management want to tell you that, but just look at the changeover. And we have more of that coming on right now, so that's a nice thing. And the Buccos did start 0-3, but now they're 3-4. And they're playing right now, let's go Bucks. It's a good time to be involved with baseball, and that stadium does look beautiful out there. So that's what's on my mind. And we're going to start with our segments. No fiction and fact from Smokin' Jim's Almanac. We'll let him make up the fiction there and when he comes back. Chip, what do you have for Chip's Trivia Time?
Well, thank you, Alan. And Chip's Trivia Time has got something to do with what happened yesterday. Yesterday was Pirates home opener. And the Pirates played the Detroit Tigers in their home opener. And there is one other time in the Pirates' history that they played a Detroit team for opening day. And it was, I don't know the year.
Way back in time.
Way back in time to a team that was called the Detroit Wolverines. And the Pirates beat them on opening day. And, going back to the opening days, the opening days date back to May the 10th, 1882. That was the Pirates' first home opener. And I've got a list of each of all the games here, and I'm not going to bore you by going through all of them. I'm going to go through some interesting statistics regarding the Pirates opener. They have had now 134 of them.
Nice.
Okay? And the Pirates' record in their home openers is now 76-58 over that period of time. Of the games that were played in March, they're 1-0. Of the games that were played in April, 124 of them, they are 70-54. And opening day games played in May, they were 4-4. So they split them there. Also in their opening day games, they have been involved in 20 shutouts. And the record in shutouts is 12 wins and 8 losses. The list of teams is long. Some of the teams no longer exist. But it seems that the teams that we have played most frequently, obviously, are teams that are now in our own division. Last year, we beat the Chicago Cubs 1-0 on a walk-off homer in the bottom of the 10th.
Yeah.
I was at that game, quite enjoyed. But our record against the Cubs in opening day games, we played them 21 times. We're at 11-10 against the Chicago Cubs. The team that we have played the most times would be, let me get my glasses, the Cincinnati Reds. In our opening day record against the Cincinnati Reds. Now this is opening day, meaning the Pirates home opener, not
Right.
opening day like we played this year in
People get confused.
Great American Ballpark. 22-7 against the Cincinnati Reds at home in the openers. And the team that we played the second most, the third most was Chicago, is the St. Louis Cardinals, and we've got a 15-12 record against them in our openers. But it's been a long history. Can you believe that? 134 years. And if you witnessed what was going on the North Shore yesterday, the city of Pittsburgh still loves the Buccos, the team that's been around almost twice as long as the Steelers, 5 times as long as the Penguins, and the love affair with the Pittsburgh Pirates has been going for well over a century, and I look for it to continue on into the next. But that's my trivia for tonight.
Thanks, Chip. Appreciate it. All right, now we got Z time with Zach, who's been. You've been writing feverishly over there. I can't wait to hear what's coming up.
It's always good to follow up after Trip's trivia time with some good Bucko trivia. Well, let's open the discussion for this one, because I was never a huge fan of Three Rivers Stadium, and maybe that was because I like football and I didn't personally like it for football. Do you guys think that it was better for baseball? Obviously, it was more better to watch a baseball game at Three Rivers Stadium, no?
I will go ahead and answer that one, and I will relate an experience that I had at Three Rivers Stadium. One of the first that I remember, but 1974, I was at the All-Star game that was played at Three Rivers Stadium, and there.
So was I.
Both lineups. I even brought in the ticket stub from that game a couple.
I remember.
Couple
I
of
wish
years
I
ago.
had kept mine. We didn't.
But the thing about Three Rivers Stadium is Three Rivers Stadium was what they called a cookie cutter stadium. It was similar to stadiums that were in Cincinnati, Riverfront. There was Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia, and all three stadiums were identical. They were round, and they were actually better suited for football than they were for baseball. But the thing I disliked about Three Rivers Stadium is that when you got into the upper levels, almost a third of the field was blocked from your view. So if you were up behind third base, you couldn't see anybody that was playing in left field. And if you were up off of first base, and what's one of the things they addressed when they built PNC Park is that you can sit anywhere in the ballpark and you have great lines of sight. You can see the whole field. You can see all the players. But I did not particularly like Three Rivers Stadium as a ballpark, but I still went because I love my Buccos, and I actually saw the last no-hitter pitched at Three Rivers Stadium in 1997. It was a 10-inning no-hitter pitched by Francisco Cordova and Ricardo Rincon.
Right.
Yeah, that was Cordova pitched the first 9, Rincon pitched the 10th, and
I was there for that.
See,
I think I still have the ticket stub for that too,
you're
back at my mom's house.
You're a closet Bucko fan.
I
To get
always
to your
do.
point on Three Rivers, it was terrible for baseball. That All-Star game, we got tickets, there were 5 or 6 of us. We were sitting behind the flagpole when the flag was inside the stadium then.
right.
So that's where our seats were. They were so high up there, but we could see the whole field. That was the only good thing about it.
The traffic for that game, because they had not had made they built the stadium and they didn't build any access roads to the stadium. My father was so upset at that game because he dropped us off, and the adults that were with us took the children up and we went to our seats. My father didn't make it to his seat until the 6th inning, and he was hot. I don't think he ever went back.
I could believe it. Well, we made it there early. It was a great time. Being 18 years old at a game like that was just fantastic. The crowd, the people, and, the talking machine's always talking. So we had some fun meeting a lot of people. And we stayed in downtown Pittsburgh to the wee hours of the next morning. So it was a lot of fun. That's another story.
Since I got their favorite moments at Three River Stadium, why don't we take it across town over to the Civic Arena, formerly the Mellon Arena? What would be your two guys' favorite memories of being in Mellon Arena?
Oh, geez.
Oh, I used to go to so many hockey games that we play outside with sticks and stuff. We'd bring sticks and kick a ball around and hit a ball around and play outside. So you can't do that today. Security would have you. We'd go in and sit in peanut heaven, and for $5. Then we go down. There weren't a whole lot of people. We'd pay another couple bucks, and we're sitting at the glass. So I had years of doing that.
That was always a great thing to do, though, just sneak down and sit down closer once you got in there, towards the end of the second period, and saw that they weren't coming back, or they just didn't show up.
They weren't there.
I saw the Pittsburgh Hornets play down at the old Duquesne Gardens. That was before the Penguins were in existence. But some of my favorite memories of Civic Arena were concert related, but I do recall my father taking me to go watch professional basketball. at the Civic Arena. It was kind
I
of
did
easy
too.
to get tickets. There was two teams. There was the Pittsburgh Pipers, and there was also the Pittsburgh Condors. Connie Hawkins was one of the stars of the team. And
Oh, yeah.
as a matter of fact, the one Pittsburgh team actually won the ABA championship, which the movie The Fish That Saved Pittsburgh was about.
No,
Speaking of movies, what about? I was there for the filming of Sudden Death when they filmed Sudden Death with Jean-Claude Van Damme. But I would have to say my favorite moment at Mellon Arena would be in 1992 when we won the Cup back to back for the second time, and going down for the celebration inside the Civic Arena was one of my highlights as a young lad. I was only 8 years old.
Right, there's plenty of highlights going to those games and seeing the players, and then seeing basketball, because I was there a lot. My dad did scrimmages there for the pro teams, so I could get in there and just
Duquesne
wander
used to
around.
play their home games,
Oh,
correct?
yeah, so it was fun there. And then going down there for the championships in high school, because we'd all go down there, and Keystone Oaks had some good teams, so we made it down there too. So it was just fun to see that the era of the 70s there. It was pretty cool.
Well, in the
Definitely.
70s, that's when the Duquesne Dukes were actually a nationally ranked basketball team, and the likes of Norm Nixon and
Oh, yeah.
and the other greats, B.B. Flannery.
Sure.
Who we interviewed at Sip
Yeah.
Sports Lounge one evening. But
So there were times where Duquesne was better at basketball than Pitt.
If
Oh,
you go back in the
they
60s
smoked
and
Pitt
50s.
at the
yeah.
beginnings. Yeah, oh yeah, no question.
Yeah, there was.
I mean, believe it or not, Duquesne was a national power in basketball at one time.
Sure, and they still had some nice teams there. John Warner, who graduated from Keystone Oaks, was one of their key players there. A nice power forward there.
I
So.
like how Levine's bringing forward the Keystone Oaks ties
Yeah,
into his
definitely.
repertoire.
Yeah, and the Nelson twins were very well known. Played some great basketball there. There's a lot of great stuff. A lot of history in Pittsburgh with sports. We're all intertwined with that. Even the young puppy there, since he wanted to veer off and do some discussions
Well,
here.
no, you know what? If we're going to go ahead and mention them, let's mention the other couple of places the Pirates played. And I stand corrected on this one. I posted a picture of Exposition Park, which was down on the
That
North
was a
Shore.
minor thing.
No, and they,
When I saw the river, I go, "What's he talking about?" That's why I said, "What happened?" And then tell him what you
Was
did.
that
You
when
didn't
they were
put
the
pre.
Allegheny?
You didn't put pre.
Yeah, I didn't put. Yeah.
He was typing too
I was
fast.
typing too fast. The spell check, I guess, reached out and bit me in the butt. But the fact is, I'm on I'm friends with a group. It's called Pirate Chat, and I was corrected because I thought that the first World Series game was played at Exposition Park in 1908, and I was corrected this morning. Thank you for the gentleman that corrected me. It was 1903. The first World Series was played
With Boston.
down at Exposition Park, which is right down in front of where Heinz Field is. They have a plaque there commemorating it, and that was the place that the Pirates. Their first home on the North Shore before they moved into Forbes Field, which was built quite a few years later up in Oakland.
Yeah, there's no doubt. But
How
there's some good
crazy was
history.
Oakland whenever they had football at Pitt
Crazy.
Stadium? They had Forbes Field.
You would have liked going in Pitt Stadium. You had to walk up Cardiac Hill like you're going up to the Pete.
Well, I still do. I take in Pitt gymnastics at the Fitzgerald
Right.
Fieldhouse. So I
Did you
still-
drive up that hill? Imagine
Yeah,
walking
we walk up the hill. And that was a whole different thing. Then you get up to the
They didn't
stadium.
call it Cardiac Hill. Why do you think they put all the heart hospitals down there halfway up?
They did because of all of us in our generation. But then you'd walk into the stadium, and it was really a great view when you'd come down and walk into the stadium.
Yeah, and
go
you know
down
the thing is, the thing I always find interesting about Pitt Stadium, and it aged and fell into disrepair. But Pitt Stadium actually packed more people into it than Three Rivers Stadium ever did. Three Rivers Stadium was about somewhere between 55 and 60,000 people
Yeah.
you could fit in in a sellout. And Pitt Stadium, if you filled it to the rafters, you could put 80,000 people in that. And because of the seating, the benches, you could pack them in like
Oh,
sardines.
And how awesome is that? That our good friend Chuck Montesor played on a national
Yeah.
championship team for the Pitt Panthers.
You know, one of my final memories of Pitt Stadium was back in the late 80s, I watched a Purdue team play Pitt, and Pitt beat them by, I believe, a point. But on that Purdue team were Jim Everett and a young future Hall of Famer, and Rod Woodson, who was all over the field returning punts. I mean, he was amazing, and lo and behold, he ended up being drafted by the Steelers, and history was written.
Yeah, now there's some great teams that have been here, great competition. You brought up some great points here, Zach, reminiscing about stadiums here. We could go on and on there.
Well, that was my take on fiction and fact, but most of that was factual, folks. So
Oh, we didn't add any fiction to that. We didn't tell any other stories. And yes, my
We
friends
didn't
and
embellish
I,
anything. No.
And the other thing, there was a guy named Ace, and he used to have this horn. You know, one of those 3 foot, 4 foot horns. I don't know
Vuvuzela.
well, he would blow this horn, and it'd get the crowd all fired up, all 2,000, 3,000 of us. They'd start yelling, Ace, Ace. Well, we become friends with him, of course, because our seats were up near him. Then we'd always go, hey, Ace, we're going down to the glass. He would say, don't go, and he's blowing on his horn, just firing up the crowd. You don't have too many memories like that.
Remember the guy who said the short little fat guy, the Gene, the dancing machine that would be down at the Civic Arena? They would play their songs, and he would do his little funny dance.
Yeah, I forget the guy's name.
I forget what his
My
name was.
My dad was
too.
friends with him, and I can't remember.
Well, he had some fun.
Yeah,
we're
he did.
transitioning since we've kind
There's
of
no
talked
transition.
about.
We'll go to a segment now. You're done with Z Time.
Okay, well, do you want to go on location then? And talk about last night? Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, that's where
Knock
I'm heading.
yourself out.
Yeah, we were on location at Duke's Rib House and Grill. Great crowd. We had a packed house. We were in the upper level there, one of our biggest crowds again. We had Sister Thea Bowman of the Catholic Diocese Championship 8th grade basketball team. Some great players there, and they won it. Again, they've won, I think, championships the last 3 out of 5 years. Their principal come out, Rita Canton, just like Canton, Ohio. Very informative. She sort of straightened Smoking Jim out about homeschooling. She's a math teacher. And all of the players, here's what's great about the team. Not only do they play well and they're on AAU championship teams, they won on Sunday, but they're also educated, and they're all going to be on the honor roll because they worked hard to educate themselves too. 3 or 4 of them are going to Central Catholic. The 8th graders are all moving on to other schools, and they're highly educated. They're smart kids. We had some nice interviews with them. Then we had, I was showing this picture earlier. If you want to, the common law wife of Jim Brown back then was Deborah Clark. Well, she ended up friending me on Facebook and saw that I have a sports show. Well, usually when that happens, nothing comes out of it. Well, here she's written a book. It hasn't been published yet, so she's looking for somebody to publish her book about her time with Jim Brown. So it's pretty interesting. We talked about that. And she has another thing. Her great-grandfather, and this is an interesting point because Smokin' Jim brought up about one of the Hall of Fame Pittsburgh wide receivers, went to Alabama A&M. So this lady's great-grandfather, who was born a slave in 1849, ended up starting Alabama A&M. Do you guys remember what receiver went there that Smokin' Jim was talking about?
John Stallworth.
Exactly. So that was a nice tie in there. We also had we had handsome Jim Auger made a second appearance. He showed up, and here's the irony. He was sitting on a plane, and he met a guy, the handsome hitman, Josh, the handsome hitman Himes, who's a cruiserweight, which is 200 pounds, and he's undefeated as a pro. He fought over 40 fights as an amateur. He has a fight coming up in Youngstown, Ohio, and another tie-in. Like I said, there's always things. He went to Youngstown State, so he'll be going back up there to fight a local guy. And if he wins, he's going to come back because then he's going to have a big fight on national TV that we can announce. So we have a lot of good things going on there. And
Handsome Jim make it to the Pirate game yesterday or no?
I don't think he did because he didn't mention Pirates there. But he wanted to know where Zach Brenner was. That he was so disappointed there, it was unbelievable. And
I hate to disappoint.
even Aaron Ward, she sent a message out on Facebook, and I couldn't read it till I got home many hours later, that where's the Amish assassin at? And people went crazy with that. He's showing plumbing. My daughter Casey goes, wow, did you see the plumbing that Zach was doing in those tub surrounds and everything? I said, yeah, I did see that. So,
yeah, he did.
but no, so Zach missed out on it. It was so packed that, you know, it was tough getting in there. All the supporters of the high school team and other people come in, and we had a special appearance by Jamie Chesney showed up, and Terry Longo, she knows who she is, and our man Vinny, who was Babe Ruth on our show a couple times. He was in transit, never made it, so we're still looking for Cousin Vinny there again. But it's on location, and it was just a great time at Duke's Rib House and Grill, and that's the on-location story there. Stay tuned. We do have another on location that we're going Thursday night. This is another edition of our Jazz and Sports. Jessica Lee and Mark Strickland will be covering the Jazz during the dinner hour. And Pittsburgh Sportsline will be there from 8 to 9 at the Village Tavern and Trattoria. It's right near West End Circle, 424 South Main Street. Come on out. We had a great show the last time. And that is truly it for the location right now.
Well, to segue from that, I would have to say that let's talk about what's going to happen here on Thursday in the great state of New York, New York.
You're talking Penguins.
The Penguinis are traveling north to face the Rangers, and what I believe is first time in a long time that the Penguins don't have anything to lose. What do they got to lose? They just barely squeaked in to the playoffs to begin with. You know,
Can you say Los Angeles Kings?
Hey, I can.
Well,
Los Angeles
you know,
Kings.
and the Penguins, by luck of the draw, let's call it that. That they happen to play the absolute worst team in the NHL, and Marc-Andre Fleury got his 10th shutout of the season, and this Penguins the same problem that they've had for the last 2 months, and some people are trying to be optimistic, and I want to be honest with you. I really would love to see the Penguins prove me wrong, but just in the way that they've played hockey over the last few months, I just don't see the fire in their belly. I just see way too many mistakes, defensive breakdowns, and they just haven't been scoring any goals. Evgeny Malkin, where are you? When was the last time he scored? Bo Bennett is somebody that I think the Bo Bennett experiment may be close to being over, nearing its end. Sid Crosby had a solid season in a season when there wasn't one single 100-point score. He stayed in the point-scoring race up until the end, and then ultimately ending up in third place. I want to be optimistic about this team, but I just don't know what's going to show up against New York Thursday night.
So what's your prediction for the series against the Rangers, Chip?
Swept.
Swept? Holy smokes, I'm taking all bets on that.
Well, here's my take on it. This season, the first month was good. After that, it wasn't even really a season. I'm looking for the real season to begin, and I'm optimistic for the simple fact, if they do any worse, they're going to get swept. If they come alive anyway, if somebody can shoot and score, which it can happen if we get people in front of the net, just shoot the puck. What do you have to lose? And Fleury has played exceptional. I mean, despite breakdowns and different players and who knows who's on defense. He's done well.
Even he had a good year, but even he tailed off at the end of the year. I think.
How could he not?
As goaltenders go in the league, he was ranked number 16 out of 30. That's halfway down the list. But part of the problems the Penguins had this year,
injuries.
That isn't even an excuse. I think. What I blame most on is in the way the players played. Okay, I hold the players responsible. I also hold the general manager responsible. I think Mike Johnson, as the head coach, didn't do a terrible job. But when your general manager cannot manage the salary cap and leave you a defenseman short in the last 7 games of the year when you're fighting for a playoff spot and you can't skate enough defensemen, your defensemen were getting worn out. I mean, that's on the general manager. You got to get creative. You got to do something to create some cap space to get some warm bodies up here. And it was perfectly okay for them to continue to march out not enough players every night.
What could they do, though? They were left with that.
Exactly.
And they did the best they could with it, which wasn't enough.
I mean, come on.
And the scheduling did help.
Run down the list, though. I mean, you got Niskanen's out for the season.
Pascal Dupuis. Niskanen's gone. You mean Oli Mata?
Mata, same country. Mata, gone. for the season. Then you got
Duper.
Letang has been hurt. You got Duper gone for the season. So, I mean, injuries have definitely played a key role. And like I keep alluding to, when you have a majority of your salary cap tied into 4 players, that kind of hamstrings you, Chip, and what you could do. And it's not the current general manager's fault. It's Ray Shero's fault.
But that all being said, if you've got that much money tied up in so few people, then they need to play like the superstars they're getting paid to be, and they weren't.
It's obvious there.
But
We need more goals.
we need more goals in the season, though, Levine, where scoring is down. Like I said
We
last
all know
week.
that.
It's down for the first
Because,
time since the Kennedy administration.
here's-
So it's
here's
not
the
like
thing.
we're
would
the
play
only
games,
ones.
and we would outshoot the opponents by 3-1, and we would still lose the game. But, of all the times that we put the puck towards the net, how many of those were legitimate scoring chances? Anything that, the goaltender steers away from the net counts as a shot on goal. But how many of those were good quality scoring chances?
Not a lot of them.
There's
There's no doubt.
Because here's what we would do: we'd play a good 20 minutes of hockey, and then we'd go up 3-0, 2-0, 1-0, whatever it may be, and then we would forget that there's 40 more minutes of hockey to play, and then we'd end up getting tied, losing the game in the third period. It was just
Do you guys
the
think-
same story over and over.
Do you guys think that like letting go like a player and trading a player like Neil really hurt? Because when you guys play together for a certain amount of time, there's a kind of a cohesion and there's a kind of like comfortability that they find in each other. And when you break that up or you ship
Hey,
that
Zach,
out,
I got to interrupt you. We got our control room, no-show Harkins. Niskanen is from the USA. Mata's from Finland. And it's not Shiro's fault.
why wouldn't it be?
And he's our sports guy.
That's the best part about it because we got a chair
just
right
wanted
here.
to interrupt
Hey,
you.
we got a chair right here.
I offered him to come in.
There's a chair right here, buddy. Come on in and sit down in
If
the
it
hot
wasn't
seat.
Shero's fault, why does he not have a job right now?
Because of Bausma.
No, he doesn't
No,
have a
I'm
job.
kidding.
If he was doing such a great job, how
Just
come he
go
hasn't
there.
got hired?
Well, because he got the taint of Bausma. Why isn't Bausma coaching
Plausible
somewhere?
deniability, Levine.
I don't like it. Guilty as charged. You either win or you lose. The shelf life of coaches is only about 4 years in the NHL. We all know that. We've heard it enough.
Yeah, it is.
But the problem is when you have cap issues, we've seen it with Steelers and other teams. We see it with hockey. And it crushed us this year. We needed the extra defense.
I have heard from a beat writer, and this is through the grapevine, of course, so this is second and third hand knowledge, that there is all is not well in Penguin land.
Matt took the challenge. He said next week he's going to bounce you out of the seat and sit in there when Smoking Jim's there.
I don't
No,
think
he didn't say
Your
that.
best chances right now because there's a seat that's empty.
To finish my
Let's
thought,
get his
one
point
of the
there.
Penguins beat writers just talked about a couple of unhappy superstars that, one of them may not be here again next year, and that there's also some rumblings between Ron Burkle and Mario Lemieux with the direction the franchise is taking. And it's kind of interesting because Ron Burkle is the billionaire,
Right.
and Mario is a
the
millionaire.
millionaire.
Yeah, he's the millionaire. So, I mean, really, whether Mario likes it or not, the billionaire holds the trump card, and he's the one that signs all the paychecks.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens, in this playoff series, and then moving forward as we go through the summer months. See what kind of changes are going to be made, because another repeat performance of what we saw this year, I don't think the fans are going to take it.
Well, you know what? I think we could all agree that it's come a time where, the Crosby and Malkin together experiment has probably ran its course. They've been together since 2007, and it was a great run. But I think it's time to either, move forward with Malkin or move forward with Crosby, because we could definitely bring in some better players, to surround Crosby with and make the roster more complete than what we're just throwing together right now.
And to speak to your point about James Neal, the way that team quit on the coach last year in the playoffs, James Neal needed to go away.
And Devin Shea just chimed in out of the control room. Somehow he woke up. It's Disco Dan's fault. That's how simple it is. But here's what's on a serious note. It's disappointing when you have all that talent and you only win one Stanley Cup. That's what bothers me, because you only had a certain window to
And
do
it's
that.
closing rapidly.
And now, could they come back and do it? Oh, I'd love it. It's possible, because scoring's down all over the league. So all they got to do is score those 4 or 5 goals and hang on.
And they haven't scored 4 or 5
But
goals in 2 weeks.
I know.
But you could, as you said though, all that talent, that's the key word, all that talent. Well, guess what? All that talent on paper doesn't necessarily transition into,
Exactly.
into championships.
It's like the word potential and if. They're huge words. You got all the potential in the world, but you got to win. And if you can do it, there you go.
But you know why? It's a combination of Shiro and Baalsma's fault, because Shiro assembled the team. Baalsma coached the team. Baalsma was unable to coach the team that Shiro put together. So in the larger scheme of things, they both had to go because they were one and the same problem, and they both couldn't.
Yeah, but he did one thing. He coached Terrian's team very well.
Well, then you
He
can say,
fired them up, and they won the cup. I mean, think about it.
And you
The
know,
guy was a disciplinarian. He loosened up a little bit, still kept the same defense and offensive schemes, basically.
and who do you think's
and
going
won
to
it.
win the cup this year?
Terrian.
Tarian and
That's
the
why I
Canadiens.
brought him up.
no way, Jose. No way, Michel hoist the cup in Canadian land.
You know, and
What's so funny
The
with
New
it?
York Yankees of the
Devin Shea.
NHL.
He
The
doesn't
NA.
like Johnson. So.
So let's move over to the to baseball.
No way. We've been holding back so long.
Holding back.
For all you Bucko
A-Rod's playing
fans.
good.
You know, because you know,
Who cares about A-Roy?
our esteemed colleague, who is conspicuous by his absence tonight, happened to write the Pirates off after they lost to the Reds on opening day.
Chip, you don't have to worry. I castigated him yesterday
Yeah.
and told him and his partner who didn't make it.
Yeah.
I said it's a 162 game season, and now they have 3 wins. I said, Smoking Jim, you quit on
But-
1 loss.
But in baseball, you know what you worry about? You worry about the game that you're playing today, and you try to win
Come on,
series.
Clint.
You know,
2 out of 3.
out of 3. That's all you got to win. 2 out of 3, and the Pirates will do that more often than not. I actually plan on being at PNC Park tomorrow night to watch the Pirates complete the sweep of the Detroit Tigers, who were A.J. Burnett's on the mound tonight.
Smoking Jim gave a little update. It was 0-0 a few minutes ago.
Okay.
Just so you know, since now he's a baseball fan again.
Well, he's a baseball fan again.
It just
well, that's
happened.
because his man A.J. Burnett's on the
mound.
the bump tonight. But tomorrow night I get to watch Francisco Liriano back from his paternity leave.
Yeah.
His wife had her 4th baby, so he didn't pitch his start on Sunday.
He was just catching.
And,
He caught that baby.
And Casey Sadler came up and filled in quite well. But, you know, the Pirates are going to be fine. You know, there's going to be bumps in the road. Yesterday, Mark Melanson had a bit of a rough go in the 9th inning. But at the end of the day, we won 5-4, and that's what's important. You score 1 more run than your opponents. That's all you try to do every single day out there. But, you know, Pedro Alvarez has got a stroke back. He's got 3 home runs. He hit another one yesterday. And the amazing thing I saw him do on Sunday, I was watching the game, and in the 9th inning, Pedro's up. They put the shift on him. And here he is, and he batted the ball down the third baseline into left field for
About
an
time.
easy. And I almost fell off the couch. I don't think that I've ever seen Pedro hit away from the shift. He usually hits into it, which is a really good sign for him. And the home runs that he's hitting, his power alley is from left center to center field.
Right.
And that's where he's hitting the ball out now. And when he's hitting a ball out that direction, that means that he's seeing the ball well and he's putting good wood
And he's
on it.
confident. So what if he's batting in the 6th position? He's actually.
You know what? I think it's a mental block with
It
him.
is.
And you put him in the 4th position, and I think that he just tries too hard. At the 6th position, there's no expectations, and he actually hits better. And I think the best pickup they had of the winter was Corey Hart.
Oh, yeah.
And when they picked him up, I said I was so happy to see that because Corey Hart killed the Pirates for years when he
He
played
just
for
got
the
his
Brewers.
1,000th hit.
Yeah,
so.
and he's got 3 pinch hits, 2 home runs already. You know, hit one yesterday, kind of a 2-run home run that he doesn't
Sure.
hit that, we don't win the game. But great pickup.
Look at Jay Hay starting the game off with a home run.
You know, we extended him because you know why? Bob Nutting doesn't spend any money. We extended Jay Hay, got him locked up. You know, they're in negotiations with Polanco. They've got McCutcheon locked up. They've got Marte locked up. The Pirates are locking up their key players. Now, some people may say, why haven't they signed Neil Walker? Well, Neil Walker needs to prove that he can make it through a season without being hurt. and they've still got him under options. Next year he goes to arbitration again. So you know what?
It's business. Part of it's
it
business.
is, and you know, and right now the Pirates are the hottest ticket in town.
And with good reason. They play exciting baseball. They're a fast team. You know, they don't mind playing small ball, just trying to X some runs out, and then they got the home run guys. Look at Detroit's known for that.
How do they play the Tigers so early? Is that like an early interleague play kind of deal? What's the deal with this?
You know, that's just the luck of the draw this year. Usually we play the Tigers. The last couple of years we've played them in June, and what we did the last couple of years we played 2 here in Pittsburgh and 2 in Detroit. But they decided that I would rather see us play in amongst our division like we did last year, the first month of the season.
Right.
And that really was a difference maker for us because we got hammered by the Brewers last year, but we took 2 out of 3 of them last weekend. We've got them this weekend.
But I like the little change up having Detroit early because I mean that's almost like a natural rivalry because you can travel to each ballpark.
Right, and I'll tell you what,
it helps.
Detroit came in 6-0. They had a team batting average of over 350, the highest in the majors. They were crushing everybody.
Cabrera.
And Cabrera's always going to hit the cover off the ball.
He's batting like 724 right now or something?
I
It's
haven't seen the
outrageous
number.
Something ridiculous.
But he's the real deal. I mean, the guy is just a machine in the batter's
Is
box.
Jim Leyland
but-
still the manager of the?
No,
No,
he
no,
retired.
no.
He's retired.
4 championships
Brad
in a row.
Osmus is the manager.
Brad Osmus, former catcher of the Houston
catcher,
Astros.
yes, that is the coach of the. But the Tigers are going to. I picked the Tigers to win the Central Division this year, but you got the Kansas City Royals, who are still 7-0, going into tonight's game, the only undefeated team in Major League Baseball. And right now, everything's it's just
It's too early to tell.
At this point, you just sit back and enjoy the games. And I think I find most amusing about baseball is I pay attention to Facebook and I read a lot of stuff on there and I respond to some, but I just find it comical that people that probably couldn't manage their son's Little League team are going to offer advice to Clint Hurdle on who he should pitch and who he should position here and and who he should pull for a pinch batter. If anything Clint Hurdle and Neil Huntington have earned in the last 4 years is my trust. I'm going to let them make the decisions because they seem to be pulling all the right strings. Neil Huntington is getting the talent there.
Yeah. You got to get it to the
Clint
major
Hurdle's motivating it. He's pressing the right buttons at the right time. I'm going to.
And it's a long season.
I'm going to defer to him.
The Steeler mentality of games.
It's a little
you can't
bit
use.
nerve-wracking, though, Levine, to go over to Cincinnati and start the season with 3 consecutive losses, though. So,
It doesn't
especially when
matter.
you're supposed to be somewhat on par with our rivals.
Do you understand that in the course of a baseball season, there's going to be 3-game losing streaks throughout the year?
5-6
You
games.
just hate to kick it off with 3 consecutive losses. Hey, what do I know?
That's right. What do you know?
Think of 16-game season. You're exactly right. Think of a season that's 10 times that
I
length.
understand what you guys are saying. It's a
common
long
sense.
it's a long haul of
Yeah.
baseball season.
And the one question mark the Pirates have is Koch has got a little bit of a tender knee right now, and they've taken a look at it, and they don't think that there's anything surgically that they could do. This could be something that lingers, as the season goes.
As
But
Smoking Jim would say, I'll take his line. Do you think it was cutting the hair?
yeah, and
I just want to add a little levity there.
and then I was going to say, and I think that speaks about all we need to speak about Jim's
Well, I had
depth of knowledge. With
He wanted us
baseball.
to have a good show, so I'm giving him a little comedic relief right
But
now.
Jim, I do love you, brother, man. You are the man. You just have to
A different sport.
lay off the baseball, brother.
Well, he's going to be a fan. You know he jumps on the bandwagon.
Yeah, I know. He's on the A-Rod.
Hey, listen, A-Rod is getting it done up there in Yankee Land right now.
Well, you
Lot
know
more
why? He's
cheers
off all
than
the
booze.
juice. He's off all the juice. He's natural supplementation, like your boxers and MMA guys, and he's doing all the natural stuff. So luckily his body didn't break down at 40 years old. So
Well, they better cheer him. He's paying him $30 million, and I'm not
Well, let's
impressed.
also give a transition and over. Let's give a shout out to the Lightning Rod Soka.
is this our boxing segment?
He's going to be fighting on May 16th at
Where
the
at?
Meadows. the Meadows Racetrack and Casino. You'll get to hear none other than Smoking Jim Frazier and Al Levine, the Talking Machine, do the
On
broadcast.
Fox Sports, folks. How about
And
that?
you'll get to see me all over the place.
We don't know. They didn't tell us.
You'll get to see me all over the place. But I'm also very excited for a venture that's coming to a mall near you at Century 3 Mall. Lightning Rod Soka's putting in a gym, a CrossFit gym and boxing gym at Century 3 Mall. So look for that here towards the end of May.
Which end of the mall is it near? So I
The
can
J.C. Penney's end at the top,
Is
across
it?
from the Champs.
Closest to Route 51.
Exactly.
Now, I understand that there's going to be Sammy Vasquez is going to be elected into a Hall of Fame Saturday night at the Gold
You
Globes.
got it. Yeah, we'll be.
And down at the Royal Place.
Yeah, we'll be there filming and announcing the fights there too. Since we're into boxing, there were some great fights in Monroeville at the DoubleTree.
I can't
There
wait
were-
to see. That's one of those
Yeah.
broadcasts where I can't wait to watch the
Yeah,
rebroadcast.
There
of
were
it.
knockdowns. There were people that come back.
Upsets.
Yeah, there were all over the place. Some great boxing.
You know,
Shut-
did they even give fighters a chance to bounce back from getting knocked down anymore? Because
Yes.
Oh, yes,
I mean,
they
you know,
did.
because
The
the
heavyweights.
refs usually they'll stop a fight, and I mean, how many times did you see
Well-
back in the 70s and 80s, like when you saw Hagler and Hearns, those guys went to war, and I mean,
Right. It was a
those are
bloodbath.
some of the greatest
Well, the one
boxing matches I
heavyweight
ever
fight
saw.
was out of Con Greb was just unbelievable with 230 pounders, 220 pounders getting knocked out and then coming back. It was just
Two of the better fights of the night were in some of the lighter weights
sure.
with our man Eric Sinor
A friend of our show, Sidnor, he
Pulling
come
off.
back
pulling off a big victory.
with Ray Schaefer Boxing and Jose Carabala. He come out and beat a guy who's just usually pretty great, Keontae Irving. A lot of great potential for Yankello. They come out in the amateurs and got beat, and that happens in the AMI ranks. You know, you see that for numerous reasons, but it was just amazing to see this and different fights. Sherrell was another guy.
Yeah, CC.
C.C. Clark is usually, he's a strong young man, and he got beat.
bottom of the third, 0-0.
And Burnett picked off Davis at first base or something. So
And I'll tell you what, A.J. Burnett has probably got one of the slowest deliveries to home. That's something that.
well, that's
And
why
we were watching that on opening day against it was the second game of the season, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well,
Or
it would
was
have
it
been the third. It would have
Third.
been
The third game. So we're watching the third game of the season, and AJ was
A.J. pitched a good game.
Yeah.
that
What do
day.
you have,
He
7 or
did.
8 strikeouts? Or?
But you want to know something, and if you want to look at parallels, and if I was a pitcher when I was a young man, and I just love watching the pitchers, and I love watching pitchers develop. And you look at A.J. Burnett now; it's the last year of his career. He's 38 years
Yeah.
old, and when he was a young stud for the Miami Marlins, he threw 97, 98 mile an hour heat, and and right now you look at Garrett Cole. And Garrett Cole has the potential to be a number one starter, could potentially be a
he stays healthy.
Cy Young Award winner. But see, Garrett Cole is at the point in his career, he's still a young stud, and he throws 98, 99 miles an hour. He can break 100 on the gun. But, A.J. Burnett now is only breaking 91, 92,
Low 90s,
93.
yeah, at the most.
But as you age, you learn how to pitch. And it's not so much how fast you throw the ball, it's what kind of spin you put on the ball, how well can you change speeds. I mean, one of the best pitchers I ever watched in my life was Greg Maddux. This guy, if you would have seen him walking down the hall, he looked like a librarian. But this guy never threw a fastball over 88 miles an hour.
Right.
He's one
But
of
his
the,
accuracy.
but he had wicked off
he
speed
is one of
stuff.
the very few pitchers in Major League Baseball to have over 300 wins and 3,000 strikeouts.
Yeah.
And another kid that's on that staff right now, Archimedes Caminero. Here's a kid that they picked up from the Miami Marlins for cash this winter. The kid hit 101 miles an hour on the gun the other day. He came in and pitched the 7th inning. I mean, that is heat. And
When you're only going to pitch an inning or
But
two,
you got-
heat like that,
and-
that's
and-
what you want to see then.
And Uncle Ray Searage seems to find these guys and seems to find the flaws in their delivery. And now all of a sudden, he was so good, they had to put John Holtzcomb in the
Back,
minors
yeah.
because Caminero doesn't have any options left. So for them to try to keep Caminero, they would have had to put him on waivers, which somebody else would have snatched him up. Holtzcomb has options, so they could send him down, and they
Sure,
can send
he'll
him
be
down
back.
and bring him up. And Holtzcomb, you watch before the end of the season, he's going to be a household name. And
there's
when
no
it comes
doubt.
to our closers, Mark Melanson yesterday was only hitting 88 miles an hour on his fastball. Now last year he
Yeah.
was consistently throwing 92,
Mid,
93. But they the pitch that his out pitch, a cutter. Mariano Rivera rode that one into the Hall of Fame. So you
Sure.
don't need to throw 100 miles an hour to be effective.
You got to learn to paint the corners there.
Yeah.
Right, Chip?
Inside,
Hit
outside.
that black.
I mean, one of
Upside
my
down.
favorite closers was Trevor Hoffman, and he was a beast for the
Yeah.
Padres.
Yes, he was.
And that's the skills. That's why it's a long game and it's a slow game for a lot of young puppies, but it's an enjoyable game for me because I did pitch also, and it is nice to see the strategy that they use and how they develop.
Now, we lost Russell Martin last year, and Russell's in Toronto, and we wish him and his family well. In the opening 3-game series against the Reds, Pirate catchers looked pretty bad. Billy Hamilton stole 6 bases on 6 attempts, and it wasn't even close. Well, Billy Hamilton is the closest thing to chain lightning that there is in baseball. I don't
Yeah.
think there's a faster player, and I don't think that there's going to be many catchers that catch him stealing bases. But the catching has been good. Crivelli has been good at bat.
Oh, yeah.
And, and he's adequate enough defensively. The surprise of the year so far has been Tony Sanchez. Tony Sanchez played his way onto the team. Now, Chris Stewart is in a rehab assignment, but Tony Stewart was hitting the cover off
I
the
was
ball
surprised.
in spring training, and he has improved his defensive abilities. He may have earned himself a position on his team.
It's something to watch where there's been some great improvements, and winning baseball will be here. Hopefully after tonight we'll be 500, so that'll help. Hopefully.
Hey, I'm going to bring my broom tomorrow, man. That's how confident I am.
Whoa, I like your style.
One
But-
game at a time, Chip. One game at a
That's it.
time.
We got to win this one first. I understand. I understand.
Definitely. Well, we're going to be winding down the show here. Zach, any other last words that you want to put out there, or
Yeah,
whatever else?
I just want to remind folks and the viewers at home to use Brenner Contracting for all your home repair needs. 412-583-5047.
Where's my new towel? I don't have
It's in
it.
development.
Everything's in development. Chip, anything happening besides the Bucko games?
kinds
You
of
already
Buckies.
gave us the teaser with 2
Yeah,
games.
well, I got Wednesday night. I got Saturday night. I'll be up in section 314. I love to watch the game from up there because
Look for Chip and Stephanie.
watching Marte and McCutcheon roam that outfield. It's really it's really something from up there. But I love the seats in the upper decks.
Well, you get a nice view of it, too.
Oh,
and you're
yeah.
behind the home plate area there, so that's always good.
Yes, it is.
Well, I want to thank everybody for watching the show. Thanks for the control room with all the great things they sent us. That's Devin Shea, Matt No Show Harkins, John the Tiger. You all right there, buddy? Are you ready to head outside? He looks like he's ready to go on a
He's ready to go play some video
desert
games.
mission. He just was. He played some video games. I heard he got beat. But that's what we do here. Thanks for watching us on Verizon 32 everywhere in the Pittsburgh area, Comcast 7. A lot of people in the community. We're being seen in every community in Pittsburgh and the surrounding area, so keep on watching us. And if you can't watch us, the most convenient way is to go on YouTube.
Please.
And Zach, since he started his campaign for me, we've gone down on views on this show on YouTube. So thank you, everybody. Have a great night. Be safe and stay Joey strong.